So it's been about 3 years, a little bit more, since Russia's special military operation began. And I was trying to remember what it was like back then in those early days. I was pretty scared, and I think I was more scared than Russians were, because I was watching foreign news as well. And so it was pretty scary because of all the things they were talking about. First of all, they were really scaring us about mobilization. I remember a lot of people were leaving Russia, and we were thinking, wow, you know, we're scared, right? What's going to happen? Are we going to be mobilized? The second thing is they were saying that these sanctions are going to cripple the Russian economy. And so we were like thinking, blimey, what's going to happen with the economy? Are we all going to be bankrupt? Is the ruble going to collapse? And it was just generally kind of like a all-around fear of what the future was going to hold. At the same time, we had these companies leaving. McDonald's made a massive thing about leaving. IKEA, Zara, these brands that we're all used to buying. And then there was the flights that all stopped, and we could no longer fly directly to Europe or directly to the US. And it was all really gloomy. And that's what I'm going to talk about in today's video, and how it hasn't actually worked out like that at all. Just going for a walk around this stadium. You can see it says here that these are in the bad condition. So it's not like they don't know it. So a couple of things actually helped Russians themselves to cope with the, I guess, the doom, the impending doom that was told that was going to happen to them because of the sanctions, because of the special military operation, because of the ruble. Russians have been through this before many times. If you talk about the Second World War, everyone knows about the hardships, but then you look at the end of the Soviet period and the 90s. Now, I understand this is a new generation and people weren't ready to, I don't know, suffer, I guess. But at the same time, they were like, we can get through this. It's going to be fine. Now, the next thing that really helped was the fact that we'd just gone through COVID. And because we'd just gone through that, and everyone was saying, you know, the economy is going to collapse because of it, and, you know, we're all going to die because of it, and all of that fear that happened during the COVID period, well, the special military operation happened just after COVID. And so the economic sanctions on all of that stuff, well, it was kind of, so what? It's just another thing that's happening to us. We can cope, we can do it. Now, of course, people were a bit scared. Probably now they won't admit to that, but they were a bit scared. They were thinking, oh man, we're not going to have any products in the shops. We're not going to, you know, be able to go on holiday and do all the things we want to do. The ruble's going to be devalued. I'm sure people were scared. But they said exactly the same thing during COVID, right? And everyone survived it. So Russian people, hugely resilient, and they believed that everything was going to be okay, and everything's okay. So when companies started to leave Russia because they're not against wars, they're just against Russian wars, a lot of people were worried about their favorite products or their favorite companies leaving the Russian market. I remember going around, and I made a couple of these videos asking Russian people on the streets what product can they not get hold of, or what product are they worried about not being able to get. And a lot of people talked about cosmetics. The girls were worried about cosmetics. They talked about Dobre Cola instead of Coca-Cola. They talked about Vkusnaya Tochka instead of McDonald's. A bit of brutalism here for you. Have you seen the film Brutalism? What's it called? Is it called something else? But now I've been asking Russian people, what products do they miss? People don't seem to miss any products. A lot of people said to me at the beginning things like Netflix they were worried about losing. But we now have our own platforms. Every product that has left, every company that has left, has now been replaced by the Russian equivalent. And people don't really miss any products at all. In fact, lots of clever Russian companies have found ways around the sanctions, enabling basically themselves to import the products that were forbidden in Russia. On a personal note, the only thing that I miss is direct flights. I think the other thing that foreigners probably miss is the ability to transfer money. But we figured that out anyway, so it's not really a big thing. So it might be interesting to see what products or brands or companies or things related to sanctions that are missing in Russia for the last 3 years. What would Russians like to see return, if anything? I wonder if they had the choice, McDonald's or of course Nitochka, where would they eat? To me they're exactly the same, but one of them is a Russian company and the other one isn't. So I used this in the last video and it proved to be quite a good prop, so I might try and use it again today.
Из еды? Из еды? Пепси.
Pepsi.
Остальное это все одежда. Вот это все.
Zara.
Ну, в том числе, наверное, она, всякие Adidas. Нет, самое главное это Apple Pay. Чтобы вернули.
Ладно.
Остальное нормально.
Хорошо, спасибо.
Так, для меня самые важные моменты это Asus, Spotify, ну, Wiley, да, то есть Apple Pay. И, наверное, Discord. Discord это очень важно. Вот.
Ладно, хорошо.
А Макдональдс?
Не, Макдональдс нет.
Ну, я была в Турции, когда там был Макдональдс именно. И там, на самом деле, устарелая, как бы, эта версия Макдональдса, которая еще, наверное, был в 2000-х. Если сравнить вкусную точку, то все равно она здесь, ну, в России, наверное, больше развивается как... Ну, она больше развивается, то есть там много каких-то блюд новых придумывают, то есть оно получше будет.
Понятно.
Ну, Apple Pay у вас 100% я жду.
Хорошо.
100%. Вернитесь, пожалуйста. Вас очень не хватает в нашей стране.
Ikea, да? Хорошо. Отлично. Hello. Я знаю.